Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the June 11, 2015 meeting of the Campaign Finance Board. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes from the May 28, 2015 board meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Next is a brief report from the board. Welcome again. I would like to open up today's meeting by drawing attention to a compelling nationwide poll that released last week by the New York Times and CBS. It shows that Americans from across the political spectrum, whether they identify as Republicans, Democrats, or Independents, share a deep opposition to the current role money plays in campaigns, and they broadly support reforms that would limit its role. More than 80% of those polled believe that money plays too large a role in American politics. 85% believe the candidates will devote some or most of their time in office to promoting policies that help their campaign contributors. 85% believe that the current system for funding political campaigns requires fundamental change or should be completely rebuilt. These results are striking, but they are not surprising to the members of this board. The call for reform we are hearing is broad and deep and crosses party lines in a way that few issues have in recent years. Lawmakers at every level would do well to heed this call. I now turn to Executive Director Amy Lore-Prest for her report.
I have just a brief report. As I've been saying in the past couple of board meetings, we have been gearing up for a possible special election this spring or summer, but it looks like there will not be an election this spring or summer. The elections will be held in Council Districts 51 and 23 this fall. Also, I just want to remind everyone again about the conference that we're holding on July 22nd.
And we have a brief report from our VAC Chair, Art Chang.
It's brief as ever. I just wanted to let everybody know that on Tuesday, June 16th at 5:30 p.m. in this room, we will hold our next meeting of the Voter Assistance Advisory Committee.
And is the rest of the-
Yes, we have a candidate appearance. Mr. Williams? Are you Mr. Williams?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Why don't you come and sit here so that we can hear you? Come and sit in this chair here. And I'll just give you a brief explanation of the procedure that we use. Ms. Siegel, counsel attorney for the board, will give a brief overview of the issues before the board today, and then you'll be able to make a statement in whatever format you want. The board will go into executive session to discuss your matter and other matters that are on its agenda. They'll come back and vote on the penalty issues. You are welcome to stay and wait for that vote, or if you need to leave, someone will call you immediately after the board meeting to tell you what the board's vote was. Ms. Siegel.
Good morning, Chair Gilhern, members of the board, Executive Director Lore-Prest, Mr. Williams. My name is Ashley Siegel, and I'm Associate Counsel for the CFB. With me today is Yasmin Vega, an auditor for the CFB. Before the board this morning is the matter of the Godwin-Williams campaign for the 2013 election for City Council, District 45. The campaign did not participate in the program and received no public funds. CFB staff recommends that the board find the campaign committed the following 3 violations of the Act and board rules: failing to demonstrate compliance with cash receipt reporting and documentation requirements, failing to file a disclosure statement, late responses to both the initial documentation request and draft audit report. The campaign contests all of these alleged violations.
Mr. Williams, you can make whatever statement you would like now.
Okay, good morning, board. Okay, my campaign was just following the required rules, because it says that the handbook says that let me just do that. Well, in the handbook it says that I think actually, it says that Okay, the itemized deposits can be printed receipts from bank tellers, which is the way I submitted my documentation throughout the whole campaign process. And there was no complaint though until after the campaign that I got objection that it wasn't good enough. But that was all the bank was issuing me when I was filing my reports. And there was no way to go back and direct get other documentation because that's all they gave me.
Campaigns are instructed very early on in the process to provide itemized deposit slips to the CFB. In this case, Mr. Williams did not provide itemized deposit slips. The Candidate Services Unit provides this instruction during candidate training from the very beginning of the process, and indeed some campaigns actually change banks to banks that do provide itemized deposit slips. Additionally, it's been referenced in many of our literature, including the 2013 Campaign Finance Handbook, as seen in Exhibit 3 to the board memo, in numerous instances that itemized deposit slips are important. And this rule in particular protects against the dangers of cash. And this rule applies to everyone in order to provide protection for that.
Well, I'm a little confused. What was provided? What is the difference between what the candidate referenced and the itemized receipt? That's one question. And two question, did you have bank statements which reflected that those amounts were actually in the bank account?
So the difference between the itemized and the normal deposit slip is the itemized deposit slip demonstrates what is cash versus checks, and campaigns can annotate the deposit slips contemporaneously to demonstrate that, as long as the record is contemporaneous. As far as I know, did the bank statements demonstrate?
Do not recall in terms of the bank statements. I do know that the campaign did provide deposit slips, but again, as you mentioned, they were not itemized. They just showed the total amount that was deposited in one day, which could have been a series of checks, a series of cash contributions, and we just see, let's say, a total of $2,500 that day. We have no idea which is what.
But there was no, was there any discrepancy between what was on the deposit slips and what the bank statements reflected?
In terms
In terms of the amount?
Right, there was a 5% variance between what was reported and what actually was.
So 5% variance in what sense? In terms of that the deposit slips were 5% short, or?
Exactly.
And you couldn't tell the distinction between cash and checks, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Which bank was this?
This was. One second, sorry. Citibank,
Citibank.
yes.
And do you have the sample deposit slip? I can't believe Citibank doesn't break out a line for cash and a line for checks.
I do not have a sample
That
with
is,
me,
that
but
has been required by the USA Patriot Act since it was passed in 2012.
That might be a question for the candidate.
Do we have any of the deposit tickets that he submitted?
I do not have them with me, but I can grab that if necessary.
So I think that the board perhaps can receive some additional documentation from staff auditor and council and take a look at it. Mr. Williams, do you have anything further to say about the documentation that you submitted? I think you said that you were not able to get from your bank an itemized slip that would have been consistent with the rules. Is that right?
Well, since the rule says it, well, let me see. The rule says any printed receipt from the bank, which is exactly what I had from the bank, I can give them copies of that, of those receipts. In addition, though, the cash was separated from the checks and money orders. That's noted in
When those lists, when you made those deposits, did you make those at the teller?
Correct.
And then at the teller, did you provide those, broke each of those items out, cash and checks and money orders?
Exactly.
You did?
Yeah.
And you have copies of those deposit slips?
I turned those in.
Turn those in? Okay.
We have all of our documentation electronically saved, so we can show the board the copies of the deposit slips that Mr. Williams submitted.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to say to us this morning by way of these issues? Any other information or points that you'd like to make?
Oh, except that in the middle of the election, I was diagnosed with glaucoma, so there's a portion where they said I missed 28 days to show the documentation. Since I was the only one in the committee that was trained to document this stuff, so that's why I have that 28 days.
Who is your treasurer?
I was also the treasurer.
Any other points, Mr. Williams?
No.
Thank you for the information, and we'll take it under advisement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would now like to make a motion that the board go into executive session to discuss pending litigation and other matters.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll go into executive session. All right, the next order of business, now that we have come back, is to vote on penalties recommended by the staff, and for that, I turn the floor over to Amy.
Okay. First, we have Kirsten Foy, candidate for City Council, District 36 in 2013. Failing to report a merchant account used for campaign purposes, $250. Filing late disclosure statements, $300. Accepting an over-the-limit contribution, $250. Failing to demonstrate compliance with intermediary reporting requirements, the reporting and documentation requirements, a violation, no penalty. Failing to demonstrate that spending was in furtherance of the campaign, $875. A late response to the initial documentation request, $50, for total penalties of $1,725. Next, we have Annabelle Palma, candidate for City Council District Number 18 in 2013. Failing to provide bank or merchant account statements, $500. Accepting contributions from corporations and limited liability companies or partnerships, $375. Converting campaign funds to personal use, $2,969, for total penalties of $3,844. Next is Sandra Peden, and the staff is recommending that the penalties be assessed against Peden and the campaign only and not the treasurer. Failing to report a merchant account used for campaign purposes, $129. Failing to provide bank and merchant account statements, $259. Failing to demonstrate compliance with cash receipts reporting and documentation requirements, $81. Failing to demonstrate compliance with reporting requirements for receipts, $259. Failing to demonstrate compliance with reporting requirements for disbursements, $129. Failing to file a disclosure statement, $388. Failing to respond to audit documentation and information requests in the form of the initial documentation request and the draft audit report, $1,000. Total penalties of $2,245. Finally, we have Godwin Williams, candidate for City Council District Number 45 in 2013. Failing to demonstrate compliance with cash receipts reporting and documentation requirements, $1,087. Failing to file disclosure statements, $359. And late response to audit documentation information requests, a violation, no penalty, for total penalties of $1,446.
Is there a motion with respect to these penalties recommended by the staff?
So moved.
Second.
Aye, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed.
Yeah, repayments. Okay. So, the staff is recommending for public fund repayments, Chaim Deutsch, candidate for City Council District Number 48 in 2013, $2,553.29. Sorry. Chrissy Voskerikian, candidate for City Council District Number 19 in 2013, $1,562.85.
Is there a motion with respect to these repayments?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Should note that, once again, we have a couple candidates, those last two, in which they managed to do an entire campaign with no penalties. And we had a few last time, so it shows that it can be done.
Excellent. Are there any other matters?
No.
Thank you. Return.